So the dismissive avoidant attachment style in your life pulls away, and they pull away out of the blue, leaving you feeling like, what the heck just happened here? And what am I supposed to do next in this situation? Well, in the next few minutes of this video, I'm going to take you through how to respond to the situation, most importantly, based on how a securely attached person would respond, how a truly secure individual would show up and navigate the situation so that they have the power back in their hands in a healthy way in particular. And my hope for you is that you're going to be able to reverse engineer these tools so that you can show up in exactly the same way. You'll actually see here, I'll go through some exercises with you, but I want to first clarify some of the differences between how an avoidant partner pulls away because it actually requires two very different approaches. So there's the first part, which is the stonewalling version of pulling away. And this is different because it tends to be more reactionary and it's usually in response or in regards to a specific situation. So for example, maybe there's some sort of argument or disagreement where the avoidant feels unheard in a relationship. And so in that particular case, they may feel frustrated by not being heard and they may pull away very suddenly and very intensely. And they may tend to stonewall. And this can really look like icing somebody out, ignoring them, maybe not answering their calls or text messages or things of that nature. But there are also two ways that this can go about taking place. There can be a spiteful approach where somebody can be doing this from a place of malintent, right? Somebody may be like, I'm going to actually punish this person with my silence. Generally, that can actually put us more towards covert narcissism territory than, in particular, dismissive avoidant attachment style territory. It's not to say that dismissive avoidants don't ever have a spiteful approach, but if you're seeing somebody being extremely spiteful and they're trying to constantly punish somebody with their silence or distance, that usually, has at least a red flag that may point us in the direction of something more than just somebody having an avoidant attachment style. And then there's protective, right? So we'll tend to see very frequently that dismissive avoidant attachment styles in relationships have a more protective approach. They're more self-protecting when they do this. And what this can look like is that they don't know how to communicate. They just know they feel hurt by somebody. And when they try to self-soothe, what they end up doing is they retreat into themselves, sort of like a turtle going into their shell. And so they may be stonewalling in the process of doing that, but their relationship to what they're doing is more about self-protection and self-preservation rather than about trying to be spiteful or malicious towards anybody. And you may not be able to tell a really big difference from the outside. And in fact, these things can have, whether it's a spiteful or protective approach, they can actually affect the person that they're happening to in a very similar way because it really doesn't feel good to go through this particular experience. But, we have the spiteful approach and we have the protective approach. And obviously, what somebody's intentions are will matter. In particular, because if somebody is just an avoidant attachment style and they realize that they're doing something self-protective, but they work through their underlying fears, they can actually show up and they tend to heal and have a greater likelihood of becoming secure in relationships. Or if somebody is intentionally being spiteful, doesn't want to work on themselves or show up for the relationship, it may require a different approach to how we address this particular situation. So we've got this sort of spiteful versus protective approach. From a securely attached perspective, here's exactly what a securely attached person does to deal with this. Okay, so when they're being stonewalled, here's what they do. The first thing they do is they call it out directly. Okay, now how we do this will really matter. This has to be done in a safe, harmonious, and regulated way, but it also needs to be very assertive. Okay, so assertive usually means that we use very direct language. We don't beat around the bush. We're very direct, but we're kind and we're regulated at the same time. So, what this would look like as an example is if I saw somebody stonewalling me, I would say to them, hey, I can tell something's up for you because I can tell that you're a little withdrawn. I don't think it's the most productive approach to not talk out and share whatever's on your mind so that we can solve for it. And I need you to be able to do that in this relationship dynamic. I'm not saying it has to be right now, but when you're ready, it doesn't feel good for me to be iced out. I would appreciate having a conversation so we can fix this. And so what you're doing is you're saying it's not okay to stonewall. We're calling it out directly. It's not productive, right? But I'm saying when you're ready, I can tell something's up for you. I can tell you're upset. I'm not here criticizing or saying, I can't believe you're doing this. I'm here addressing it directly pointing it out, but also saying, here's what we can do next. Here's how I'd like to approach this. Okay, so this is what a securely attached person would do in this particular situation. Now, of course, if the person never comes around and all they ever do is stonewall and they never make an effort in the relationship, that may be a call for a different approach, that we actually set a boundary with a person instead of setting a boundary around stonewalling in a situation, right? We may say, if I'm with a partner who can never work out conflict or never hash things out with me, maybe this isn't the right relationship for me. But if I call it out directly, I'm calm, I'm regulated, there's a very good chance I'm going to see the needle move instead. And this is something securely attached people tend to be very good at, which tends to help them build and grow with an avoidant partner and help that avoidant partner indirectly, as long as they're willing to do the work, become more secure because they're modeling secure behaviors over time. And they're not really putting up with things that fall outside of that realm of what would constitute as secure behaviors. So that's the first part. Then we have another dynamic where an avoidant can pull away. And this is really about distancing and deactivating. So it may not be reactionary, like in regards to a particular situation, but it tends to be more pervasive and used as a soothing strategy. So you may see, for example, dismissive avoidants, they don't know how to co-regulate. They don't know how to, regulate themselves while in the company and presence of others. They tend to soothe themselves on their own time, very much in their own space. And they tend to struggle to be able to have this reciprocity, this reciprocal soothing, like, hey, I'm feeling this, I need these things. They don't like to open up about their internal world. And it's not even, I shouldn't say they don't like to open up. It's like they don't know how to do that very well. They have no modeling, so it feels uncomfortable and foreign. So what we can do here instead is realize that this is a soothing strategy. They're pulling away, going into their shell because they are attempting to get their needs met through their creature comforts is usually how they soothe. And so what they're seeking through their creature comforts is usually a sense of safety, acceptance. They feel like they can part of why they need to soothe alone is they often judge themselves for having creature comforts. So they'll kind of like withdraw into their own space and time to rely on whatever the creature comfort is. It could be binge eating food, it could be binge watching television. And what they're doing is they're doing this away from people because they don't think that their behavior is acceptable. And so they're doing this, in their own space away from other people so that they can sort of have this sense of self-acceptance, like, oh, this is what I do. And they're trying to escape judgment or shaming from other people. So they tend to be soothing for the need for acceptance, for safety. And on top of that, if we have a dynamic where somebody's pulling away from a securely attached person all the time, guess what a securely attached person is going to do? They're going to understand that they need to work on the safety and acceptance in their relationship, but that cannot come at the expense of them having needs. So what you'll see instead is that a securely attached person would go to the avoidant and they would say, hey, I know you need a lot of time alone, and I'm okay with that. I'm, basically trying to say I accept, right? That it's okay if you need time alone. And I also need time together in the relationship. So why don't we make a bit of a plan or put all of our cards out on the table to see how many evenings a week you really need to do your own thing? And I'm going to tell you how many evenings a week I need to feel fulfilled in the connection and consistency of our time in a relationship. And so they would be making sure that they're honoring that this person has different needs. They're going about it in a kind way, but they're not dishonoring their own needs in that dynamic as well. And so by putting all of your cards out on the table, again, in a harmonious and safe and regulated way, it allows for discussion for both parties' needs to be heard, and this can allow the needle to really move. So this allows somebody to feel like, okay, I'm seen, I'm understood, and it actually promotes more connection rather than this pulling away, causing destruction or devastation in a relationship. If you're somebody who's truly interested in helping others while also securing financial freedom for your future, there is a limited time option to join our 50% off certified relationship coach program. And this is a 12-week program where you can create financial freedom, work from anywhere in the world, and truly make an impact on other individuals' lives by becoming a certified relationship coach in just 12 weeks. Throughout this entire 12 weeks, you will learn all of the tools that you need to discover somebody's attachment style and help them heal and change their attachment style if they are insecurely attached so that they can become secure and build the best relationships of their life. On top of that, you'll learn all about the subconscious mind and how to actually rewire our painful limiting beliefs, our painful behavioral patterns, and help your clients learn their relationship needs, as well as the needs of their loved ones. You'll also learn how to build a thriving coaching practice and set yourself up for long-term success. You'll learn all of the business tips and tools you need to build funnels, leverage marketing strategies, and really thrive in the marketplace. Even if you have absolutely no coaching experience, this certification will give you everything you need starting from scratch to become a thriving relationship coach. You can find more using the link down below. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did get a lot out of it, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to this channel. And I can't wait to see you in future videos. Thank you for watching.